The real estate industry, renowned as a cornerstone of wealth creation, has often been a playing field for fraudsters seeking to exploit investor optimism. This article provides a comprehensive analysis of 5 notorious individuals, each having orchestrated high-profile real estate scams that caused severe financial repercussions for countless investors. The collapse of Richard Dausey's empire was a sobering revelation of his $200 million Ponzi scheme. Dausey was a master manipulator who convinced his investors of high-return real estate projects. However, these projects were merely a facade for his fraudulent activities. Instead of channeling the investments into the promised projects, Dausey was merely paying off earlier investors with the money from the newer ones. When the scam eventually unraveled, it left a trail of financial devastation in its wake, highlighting the nefarious side of real estate investment schemes. Tom Petter's stands as a striking example of greed surpassing all ethical boundaries. His fraud reached an unparalleled scale, amounting to a shocking $3.65 billion Ponzi scheme. Peters skillfully fabricated the existence of lucrative retail and real estate investments. Duping new investors into these phantom projects, Peters used their funds to settle his financial obligations to earlier investors. His fraudulent empire's collapse exposed one of the largest financial scams in history, dealing a significant blow to trust in investment schemes. Lou Pearlman's story is a classic tale of deception hidden behind a veil of fame. Renowned for managing chart-topping bands like NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, Pearlman used his public stature to conceal a $300 million real estate and investment scam. He manipulated his celebrity image and the promise of lucrative returns to attract investments into non-existent or heavily misrepresented ventures. The unraveling of Pearlman's scheme sent shockwaves through the investment community, reminding potential investors that fame is not synonymous with credibility. Michael R. Mastro, a Seattle-based real estate developer, deceived investors on a grand scale with a $100 million fraud. He misrepresented the fiscal health of his business, assuring investors of its prosperity while he spiraled deeper into debt. When the reality of Mastro's situation came to light, it left hundreds of investors grappling with substantial losses, underlining the importance of rigorous due diligence in real estate investments. Vladimir Antonov, a Russian tycoon, brought international dimensions to this narrative of scams. He was charged with conducting large-scale fraud, entailing embezzlement and asset stripping in real estate and banking. The financial fallout of Antonov's illicit operations ran into hundreds of millions, illustrating the distressing scope of his fraudulent activities. Scott Rothstein's name is another infamous one in the annals of real estate fraud. A former attorney, Rothstein orchestrated a $1.2 billion Ponzi scheme under the guise of lucrative settlements from sexual harassment and whistleblower lawsuits. His victims, largely wealthy individuals and entities, were fooled into investing in these purported settlements, anticipating high returns. Rothstein, however, had fabricated these settlements. There were no real plaintiffs, no defendants, and no cases. The entire operation was an illusion, with investor money being circulated to create an appearance of returns. Rothstein's world came crashing down when his scheme was exposed, and he was convicted for his fraudulent practices, leaving his investors to face the stark reality of their losses. In another high-profile case, Stanford, a former prominent financier and sponsor of international cricket, was found guilty of running a $7 billion Ponzi scheme. Stanford sold certificates of deposit from his offshore bank in Antigua, promising consistent high returns that he attributed to his unique investment strategy. However, the truth was far from it. Stanford's strategy was a complete sham, and investor money was not invested but used to finance Stanford's lavish lifestyle and other business ventures. When his fraud was eventually revealed, Stanford's investors were left with significant losses. Lastly, we have Mark Dreyer, a former New York attorney, who was convicted for orchestrating a $700 million investment fraud scheme. Dreyer sold fictitious promissory notes, misrepresenting them as issued by his high-net-worth clients. He used the funds obtained from selling these non-existent notes to finance a luxurious lifestyle and prop up his law firm. Dreyer's high-profile clients were his cover, providing credibility to his fraudulent operation. However, when the facade finally crumbled, Dreyer's scam was laid bare, leaving his investors to grapple with the harsh reality of their misplaced investments.